Hey guys, so today I'm doing my last individual CVL video. Um, Sorry if it's a little dull. I'm extremely exhausted and I should be napping or something right now, but I just wanted to get this out of the way. So I'll be talking about the marching band topic, and I feel like it hasn't really come up in anybody's CVLs before because the question only applies to those of us who are looking to be band directors, and specifically within that category, it's only a real important consideration for those of us who want to be high school band directors. So for me, who is looking to be an orchestra director, it's a little less relevant, and I don't really have any experience whatsoever about anything regarding marching band. I have no idea what the experience is like. So although I don't have any experience, based on what you guys have already talked about and what some of my TAs for different brass and winds methods classes have talked about, I do sort of have an opinion. So if community performance involvement stuff is here and here is competition, I feel like you should be like in the middle but leaning towards the community side with a band program. And the reason for that is I think music really shouldn't be about competition and finding out who's the best and who has the best technique and who can play the best and who has the most medals and wins all these competitions and things like that. Music isn't about bragging about who's the best. And I feel like if you have that sort of culture in your classes, that sort of diminishes the most important lessons that you can get from music in the first place, which we've discussed in other videos. But I do think that there still are positives to competing, and although you shouldn't compare yourselves to other people and be constantly worrying about how you stack up compared to them and like all these Texas schools that we keep talking about, you can compare yourself to yourself. So if you have your band reflect on their own performances compared to their past performances and their past rehearsals, then that can be way more beneficial than comparing themselves to, say, other schools who may have different resources or a more supportive community and things like that. The feedback you can get from judges is very helpful because it's information from professionals in the field that might have a much different outlook on your performance than even the director of the band, and they might hear different things that the director might not have heard or the students might not have heard, and it can really just help them improve and become a better ensemble. So yes, I do think competition can be good for the experience, but I don't think that it should be the main focus of any ensemble. So while winning competitions can perhaps help your program be taken more seriously and receive more funding, as in Aaron's case I believe it was, I think it's way more important to be involved in the community, because in the community is where things like recruitment happen and keeping your program alive. And if you have parents involved, students who really are interested in your programs, and everybody's supportive of the arts, then you don't have to worry about, in the face of budget cuts, music being a serious target of being cut from the schools if everybody in the community is very supportive and sees the importance of music in that school district. In the end, it's not judges at competitions or anybody involved with that who decides to cut music from your programs. It's administrators and parents who are unaware of the importance of the program in your school that will decide to cut it. So they're the number one most important people when it comes to being involved and making them aware of why having the band or orchestra program at your school is very important to the students and very important for, building their character and just turning them into well-rounded, great thinking, creative adults. So I obviously don't have any personal experiences as far as marching band goes, but there are some things that are related in the orchestra world. For example, my high school orchestra did pit orchestra for all the plays, so students would collaborate with professionals that were hired to play the score for the play, and I thought that was really beneficial when I was in it because I got to work with professionals and it really helped me develop into a better musician. Um, there was also a quartet that would go around and play for like middle school and elementary school graduations. They would play at different dinner parties and other formal events. So that really got my high school's orchestra program like out into the community and helped other people who weren't associated with the school be aware of the school's program and um, rally up more support. We also had the orchestra play at graduation, and when I graduated, I actually played for graduation and then had to run into the line that was about to get on stage to receive diplomas in my heels. So that was fun. But it really showed all the families of these graduating students how important the orchestra program is and what wonderful things they were doing. And that's most important because that's where we get most of our funding through like fundraisers and other things to keep our program alive and, get things like instrument repairs, new bows, sheet music, rosin, new stands, everything that we need to function well. Well, my high school orchestra never really went to any competitions at all because we had a new orchestra director who wasn't really sure how to go about that yet in my community because he came from a completely different state. Um, and our orchestra wasn't really prepared for that. Like in my ninth grade year, students were still going up to the orchestra director and asking them to tune their instruments. It was pretty bad. But I remember going to competitions with my middle school orchestras, and the only thing I really miss about going to these competitions was the bonding experience that it had for our orchestra. So we would go on these bus trips for hours and hours, and we would have to find things to talk about, and like things to keep us busy, like games to play and stuff like that on the bus. And it was like a real bonding time. It made it feel like a family, and we would all go through the stress of, oh, how are we going to do in the competition? Do you think we're ready? Are we going to get a medal? And all that. And afterwards, it went fine, and we would just reflect on what we did well, what we could do better and improve on in the future, or for our upcoming concert at the school. And usually afterwards, we would go to Six Flags, so we could all, have fun, go crazy, hang out with each other. And it was just a real nice way to bring the orchestra together as a more of a tight-knit community, which, even improves your playing because music has a lot to do with connecting with other people in the ensemble and really communicating what you're trying to do in the music, where you are, like you need to do cues, show your phrasing, things like that. So I think that is actually the most beneficial thing that can come out of competing. And that's something that I really missed in high school, and is part of the reason that I think I will really try to take my high school orchestra one day on different festivals and fun things and the Six Flags and all that. So yeah, that's all. Sorry I didn't have too much to say about marching band, but it did help me realize that although I'm taking all these brass and winds methods classes, because I've been trying to be qualified to teach band, I'll never really be qualified to teach high school band because I know nothing about like marching bands and jazz ensembles and things like that. And I'm never really going to know, really good technique on all the instruments. But hopefully I'll be at least qualified to teach a beginning band, so I'll have a little bit more diverse options when I go into job hunting, which is gonna suck. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Thursday when we do our group CVL, the last one ever.